Hey guys, SilverCon Trail here. Today is the day after the official TCG Forbidden Limited List updates for September have been revealed. So, as you can expect, my mind is still sufficiently blown. I'm kind of don't know what to think, don't know what to do. Saw the list, I was pressing F5 when it went up last night, and I was like, yeah, let's see it. It's going to be the exact same list, or it's going to have like two changes. And why is Macrocosmos a dimensional fissure limited? What's going on here? Someone help me. Why did Patrick Hoban write this list? In fact, there's a comment I made on one of Ultra Reality Games status where I'm like, uh, hey, I didn't know Patrick Hoban was writing the Forbidden List or something along those lines. And it was like the top comment for that thread, and it's just I don't know. I really don't know. It's only the first day afterwards. I really haven't thought about it. I've got to go dig into my binder and just look at things and think about it in the context of this new list. There's a lot of changes, and it's going to change the way the game plays. It's going to be interesting too that the OCG has a completely different list for it hasn't been that way for a very 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 long time. So it'll be interesting. Very cool. But we will find out, I suppose. Anyways, we've got to get to the regularly scheduled article aftermath, and then maybe we'll talk a little bit more about the list afterwards, which is last week's article on Mecha Phantom Beast, which it makes sense to kind of update that now for the current format. So first of all, with Mecha Phantom Beast, obviously I think the deck is really solid, and in a slower format, it's now like really really solid. Solemn Judgment being gone actually gives you a reason to use dual barrel roll, and the ability to just set your hand is pretty nice too. I kind of like that. And you don't really care about field nuking because you can usually keep your monsters around anyways, and most of your traps are chainable, so there's that. There's a lot of different things that make it very viable in the next format. Not only the increased slowness of it, but also Dracossack being an amazing card. Nobody else is really going to be playing Dracossack, especially with like the Gold Sark being at 1. Like that was a big thing where you could make 7s and pretty much anything that was mono attribute or mostly mono attribute, and being able to search out, go Gold Sark into a dragon, add that same dragon to your hand, and then in 2 turns you get that other dragon to your hand. Now you can potentially do something where you can get both of them on the board and then make a 7, and you've got Dracossack. Now that's really not possible, and even stuff like the currently hyped dragon plants, like I really don't think that deck's any good anymore under this list, and that mostly has to do with the fact that Trishula isn't off the list anymore. But like being able to make 7s, especially Dracossack, that's something that's really going to be relegated from now on to Mecha Phantom Beast, and without Compulse being around anymore, well, at 1, it's a lot more likely that your Dracosack's going to sit out on the field for a long time, which is great. It's awesome. So, like, the deck is kind of a med deck actually. It doesn't have a whole lot going for it in terms of what it needs to be able to do exactly what it needs to do, and that has to do with just the lack of search power that the deck has. It does have, to be fair, obviously, it has Raptor, and Raptor is an amazing card. The problem is you can't search Raptor. And because you can't search Raptor, you can't search all your other stuff. And that's where the problem lies. It's one of the reasons that I went to Scramble Scramble in my deck list, because you need a way to get Raptor out on the board and get its effect triggered and get it to start adding stuff. Every time you open Raptor and a way to generate a token, you are infinitely better off than almost any setup you could possibly have. It just like does not matter what the rest of your hand is, because you're going to start correcting that hand. You're going to start tributing tokens, getting those cards to your hand, and setting up those really important Harleyard Coltwing plays. Harleyard Coltwing, it's a really important combo. It doesn't exactly give you a whole lot, but it does push your game plan forward, because you go into the Coltwing, you destroy and banish a card, then you make the Dracossack, you pop another card that they've got, and at that point you've got still usually like a Raptor, and then you've got like 3 tokens. Well, no, more like 2 tokens. And then next turn, if you've got an area to recharge, you go tribute the token for your end phase, and then on their turn they do whatever. You get 2 more tokens thanks to Raptor, and then Recharge kind of working together. And then you've detached the Cult Wing by that point. Now you're gonna tribute a token to search Hamstrat, and then kind of go from there. And there's all sorts of options that you have to make plays like that, and it's really cool. So let me just dig into the comments. Someone suggested right off the bat Sky Palace, Gangrid Die. I cannot say that. Anyways, the new rank 10 in Number Hunters. I'm actually running this, or I was running this. I probably will put it in now because I think something is worth switching out, and it's probably the Mistworm that's going to go out because I'm not really running that anymore. Or maybe one of the 7s or rank 6s that I had in there before, because I don't really make them as much as I used to. Basically, it's really cool. You do get to pop a card, and then they take 1,000, and it's got 3,000 or 3,400 attack actually. So it's a huge stick. I mean, the thing is enormous, and not a whole lot can get past it. It's okay. The burn damage you don't really care about. Being able to pop anything on the field, that's kind of important for a rank 10 is pretty cool. It's just like a Nixies that can pop things. It's like a big Scrap Dragon. It's a Draco Sack without the protection. And sometimes you have to make it instead of the Draco Sack because you can't get the numbers right. So it's a really cool card for that reason. It just didn't fit into my build. Again, I have one. I can play it. Let's see. A lot of people talked about the Synchro, the Concord, the level 7 Synchro. I really don't like it. I think it's a terrible card. Obviously, if you're running the stuff to make it, which in my build, I should point out, I'm not. There's like one scenario where I can make it, and it's rarely going to be something that I'll do. Basically, it would be to set a Hamstrat, flip the Hamstrat, and then special summon a Warblurn from my graveyard, and then make the 7. But I have no incentive to do that, at least in this build. It's not really that exciting of a card. Someone did just running the 3 Divine Winds and then 3 Genex Alley Birdman. I've looked into that. I really don't like it. It's just inconsistent. It's a lot more explosive, but it's just inconsistent. Maybe with Harpy Dancer I would do it, but with Birdman going to 1 as well. Someone made a lot of change suggestions. They added a Star Eater. I personally am running a Star Eater right now. With this build, I would still run the Crimson Blader, though, especially given what we know now. They suggested Fortune Tune. I must be like the only person on Earth who does not like Fortune Tune. And then taking out a Scapegoat for a Stealth Ray. Like Stealth Ray in the main deck. I've got it sided, and my side deck did pop up, right? Yeah. I do have it. I do have it sided, right? Let me double check. Yeah. And that's more than enough, in my opinion. In this next format, Stealth Ray is going to be pretty beasty. I mean, you can actually just like set it, and then watch your opponent kind of run into it, and then you get a token. It's pretty funny, and then of course you can use it to start popping their back row because they're going to set their hand. Now you've got this indestructible Stealth Ray that's going to start popping their cards, and it's really funny. I like it, but it's a little tough to get it to trigger. Minus Book of Moon plus Birdman. Birdman's not really that exciting here. And then Dual Barrel Roll. Dual Barrel Roll is kind of, honestly, pretty meh. And then plus an Impala. I don't really like Impala. But you can, like you said, you can combo it with Cult Wing, which is okay. And then Concorda, obviously, if he's going to put in the Impala. I really, with the recharge, I've always felt like 2 or 3 is a good number. Like he's just taking 1 out. I really like the 3 of them because you want to maximize the chances of opening up with the recharge and a Raptor play. But for this next format, maybe you can put like another scapegoat in instead of the recharge. Maybe you could go like one recharge, three scapegoat. You could do something crazy like that. There's some options there. And then I'll talk about Transmodify versus Scramble Scramble. In my opinion, Transmodify is a really cool card. I've talked about it before. That said, I don't see myself playing it that much. It's so rare that I actually want to send a card away. Like there's some obviously stupid things you can do. You can go into Arios Penguin, and then banish for it, and then get the Cold Wing, and then get the tokens, and do whatever from there. Or go into like a Harley, or not a Harley, but like summon the Warbler and tribute a token to make it a 2, then send it off to get a Hamstrat or something like that. There's different stuff you can do there. I don't know. Scramble Scramble, though, tributes your tokens. Like, I don't really want to send my monsters away that often. I want to send my tokens away. But there's different ways to play the deck for obviously. You can run stuff like Spell Canceller if you run Transmodify, which is really cool. Prophecy is going to be a relevant matchup for next format, I'm sure. And yeah, the side deck, being really important for this deck. It plays a lot of cool stuff. Obviously, Macrocosmos leaves the main deck, or leaves the side deck. And yeah, that's about it. Now, for my current article this week, I think I stuck in the DNA. I think I said transplant. Yes, I said transplant instead of surgery, and that was my bad. I got it right in last week's last week's article, and then I screwed up this week. Holy crap! Transmodify $60 now. All right. Well, okay. Okay. We will see. Anyways, I'm not sure what happened to the price points on these cards. They're all over the place now. Wolfbark is 70. Cool. And someone already commented in my article. I like/hate how half the cards you mentioned have been hit. Really? Yeah. And that's the thing, I'll talk about that next week about how Macrocosmos and Dimensional Fissure kind of, the fact that they're hit now changes things. And it's the same thing with Soul Drain, too. I was really surprised with that, but we'll get into that later. I think that's about it for me for today. I've got to go figure out what I'm going to do with this ban list. So, yeah. Thank you for listening, and until next time then.